It's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP Morning Show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
I hope you are scatting along there at home. It's just after 8:30 here in Portugal, on the Silver Coast of Portugal. Munson here from expatsportugal.com with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream. How are you this morning? And podcast. Shout out to all the podcast listeners quietly having me do it to them in their ears in remote corners of the planet. How are you this morning? Very busy in the comments this morning. Well done, everybody. Good to see you here. Look, let's have a look at the sunometer. If I just turn the screen slightly, you can see the sun is streaming in through the window. It's been lovely out with the dogs this morning. A fresher sort of morning. It's been raining overnight here, and I think it's going to be a lovely day today here in San Martinho de Porto. 12 degrees, partly sunny at the moment. Tell me what your weather's like where you are. No, I didn't mean to click on that button. You know what? Microsoft do some funny stuff, don't they? And before long, you can find yourself down a Microsoft rabbit hole. But I just escaped that. You'll be pleased to know. And I haven't been on Teams at all today. Anyone like Teams here? Actually, we at Expats Portugal use that as a communications platform. And if you do like Teams and you know how to use it, fancy jumping on a Zoom one day with us and showing us how your life can be, how you can have added pleasure in your life by using Microsoft Teams. That'd be fabulous if you can help us with that. George Carlin's here this morning. Stephen Wright's here this morning. That's a shock to some people who might be tuned in for the first time. Via their quotes, of course, the Prof, Moaz, T-Duck. We have some changes with the Bubble Off Centre live stream. I'll tell you about those later on this week. This morning, of course, ask anything about Portugal Hump Day Wednesday, Quarta-feira here in Portugal and the Portuguese-speaking world. So, what do you want to know about Portugal? Just because you've been here a while really doesn't mean... What was I thinking of yesterday? I was thinking I still don't know how to do something in Portugal, something very simple. If I forget now, but there are hundreds of things I still don't know how to do. Having been here, it'll be my fifth anniversary, or our family's fifth anniversary of being here come autumn of this year. And that's flown by, and there are still so many things to learn. I haven't been to Algarve Castle, as you saw yesterday. Nuno was here and showed us pictures of his visit to Algarve Castle over the weekend. So many places to go, so many experiences to have, so many bacalhau recipes to try. I still think I have 363 to go. Oh, and yes, just a little bit of a vestigial matter from the Consumer Tuesday show yesterday. Petrol prices going up, no secret or surprise there. But I've got a hack for you. And what I do, because it's not changing for me, I always put 20 euros in, and it never changes. So I'm there, I'm smiling at the pumps. The prices haven't changed for me. I always put 20 euros in. So more life-enhancing, value-adding tips. Follow me on Instagram for those. Yeah, Pete Bleach is here. Chris Smith sniggering away somewhere in America on his way here soon. Carlos M. OLP. What's this? Did any of you... Here we go. This is what we're looking at today with Douglas Hughes. The doc may or may not be here. He's got car trouble or things to do with his car, but we're hoping he's going to be pass his glistening baton, and it will be grasped firmly by Douglas Hughes, who will be taking over on the second Wednesday as my co-host on the Ask Anything About Portugal slot. So the baton in the slot, and let's see if we can get them both on screen without falling out politically. Should be interesting. So Dougie and the doc here from around 9 o'clock, which I wonder if I've sent them the link. I might just have to do that little bit of housekeeping, folks, while we're talking here. Because they won't turn up. If they haven't got the link, they won't turn up. Now, I put them together, and they behaved quite nicely this morning. Oh, that's good, yeah. And they may have lost the link. So there's no excuse now, gentlemen. Do please join me from around 9 a.m. But we're straight into the questions. Thank you, OLP, for this. Did any of you, when first getting to Lisbon, stay in a hotel for a few days before moving on your discovery of Portugal journey? I'm interested in a few suggestions if any of you have. I didn't do that. I stayed in a hotel in San Martino de Porto for quite a while because our camper van broke down. And it's a nice hotel. And I recommended it to a friend who stayed there recently. It's just the same. She sent me the pictures of the breakfast room. Looks fun. I was really quite nostalgic and homesick for that experience of being stuck in that hotel, which was great. But I would recommend Martinhal. Martinhal have a beautiful hotel in Chiado. You can get a bit of a discount by being a premium member or premium plus. Any of the premium memberships of Expats Portugal gets you a whole load of benefits. We haven't looked at those for a very long time, have we? I might scroll through those. I suppose it's the sort of thing that should be done on a Tuesday, strictly speaking. But who am I to stick to the rules here, even on my own show? So I would say, Martin, if you want a really nice treat, stay in Chiado. The location is beautiful. The treatment is fantastic in there. The hospitality is fabulous. Martinhal, go look in our business directory or perks and discounts and freebies for the discount you'll get off that. Pam's here as well. We'll dig deeper into the specifics of your commentary and correspondence this morning. James is here, Base Orbit. Who else? Who's been coming a little bit later? Suze is here. How are you? And Sharon H is here as well. Denise H. Related? I don't know. Matty's in as well. Ian Turner, Gary Orgles. Well done, everybody. Thanks for joining me this morning. And Sam Nazare as well. Hola, bon dia from Sam Nazare. And a very special hola, bon dia. Check out this one. Oh, no, not that one. That's that's a little clue to something else that's coming. That's guess those Gumpers. You know who they are, don't you? No, what I meant to play was this.
Bom dia, alegria!
Bom dia, alegria!
And look at the way she looks at her father there. Isn't that fantastic? Bon dia, alegria. There you go. Thank you very much, Vitor and Bianca there. Superb. How lovely. Yeah, and I showed you a picture just now, didn't I, of the coach. Is a half of the original God squad there, growing old disgracefully. They met up recently in Praia da Rocha, Faro, Portugal, as you can see there. And I forgot to share this with you, but more lovely pictures in a little video to share with you. And a 2-minute taster of Dougie's from Alvor as well. So Dougie's coverage of the Algarve continues, along with a few lovely photographs from Victoria, who you can see in the frame there as well. These have been coming in from James too, and I've got a special, what's it called? The unboxing video. I'm going to do one of those before my colleagues arrive for this morning. But yesterday, we didn't really do it justice, did we? We didn't mention the Bayards women on International Women's Day in any serious way. This is very specialist, James. Dr. Bayards versus the banana slug. I think the lady at Dr. Bayards wins that every time. And this is the picture that launched 1,000 memes, of course. I mean, I think, Prof, you sent us this, didn't you? And I was asking about the great lozenges from my forthcoming documentary, The Great Lozenges of Portugal. Dr. Bayards is the king, really, of all of the daddy, the doctor daddy of all the lozenges and cough sweets of Portugal. And there in the factory, the production facility, a wonderful woman wrestling with a huge piece of lozenge, yet to be formed into little individually wrapped sweeties. And we were quite taken by that. And of course, James was taken by the resemblance to the banana slug. That is the mascot of his alma mater. Have I got that right? Is that the right way of referring to it? Yes, so shout out, belated and blessed International Women's Day. A special mention for the women of the Dr. Bayards factory. And I say an unboxing. So this is what a lot of kids watch on YouTube these days. Are you familiar with this? People watch other people unpacking things. And there are certain people, aren't there? Is it ADMSR, AMS, AMDSR, where people get a special borderline sexual sort of frisson, certainly a sensual pleasure from watching other people speak or do things in a certain way. It relates to the senses and crinkling like this. You see, people of that persuasion will like this. Others will say, "Get away from me, Munson. That's disgusting." But look what I found whilst I was out and about in Caldas yesterday. Other branches of Tiger are available all around the shopping malls of Portugal. Look what I found. Talking of bananas, do not eat this. This is not confectionery, okay? They do a nice nougat and a flying saucer in there, which you can eat. And we were enjoying eating those yesterday. But look at this. This is the Christa Krib, a sticky Danish, that is, I think. Is that Danish for banana slug, I wonder? Sticky, creepy, crawly. So I'm going to open it for you now so you can see. You weren't expecting this morning, were you? James will be getting very excited. He won't know whether to pick up his pen for an erotic novel entry or watch this with his jaw on the floor. When I see you, James, I'm going to get you one of these. And that's no idle threat. You can hear the unpacking, can't you? He unpacked his banana slug to gasps of appreciation. So there you go. The packaging is going on the floor. And look what I've got, everybody. It sticks. It sticks to things. And you may or may not like the fact that it sticks to things, but it does. It really does. It can stick to the microphone. I'm going to leave it there. So that people who tune in late think I've got a really bad cold at the moment, possibly, is one option. That's pretty disgusting, isn't it, doing like that? How about that? Shall I leave me a little banana slug? I think that's affecting the sound quality somewhat, so I can't do that. But I'll leave him jauntily lounging like a like an what are they called? An erotic model just lounging over my microphone this morning. I do hope you enjoyed that. No one could have been expecting that. Love all my merch. Yes, we'll get you one of those, James. Okay, choking hazard, Carl. Can you swallow it all in one go? Looks like ectoplasm. And it's a long time since I've smelt any ectoplasm, but I think it's more of a rubbery smell. I can smell. And I won't make that old joke because I already complained to a radio station for making that joke. I can't do that myself now. Frisson. Wow, impressed. Stay tuned for more sexy words, if you like, or requests. If you want me to say it, put it in the comments. Apart from you people, don't you dare. Okay, so let's see how everyone's doing this morning before we play a couple of videos and rest my voice. My voice is a little bit. I think I've got a seasonal something or other. Oh yes. Moaz was in first this morning. Look at this. 8:07. Well done, Moaz. Bon dia, Carly Toros, and a lovely ray of sunshine, a sunbeam for us there this morning. And what's happening to mouse? I should have got a new mouse at Tiger as well. Bon dia, my fine young cannibals. Is that a nice way to who said that originally then? So we obviously know that as a band name. What are the origins of that, Prof? Please do not climb on the trolls. Here, come on, play nicely. Bon dia, alegria, Companación from T-Duck as well. I won't be here too long today. Oh dear, that sounds serious. I was the first one at Feel Good for Portugal. The first one here. I sure do have an interesting... Whatever floats your boat. I'm glad. Someone's got to be, haven't they? Today in Portuguese history, then, from the Prof, who's advising us also, please do not climb on the trolls. 1916, Germany declares war on Portugal. What? I didn't know that had happened. Who earlier that year honored its alliance with Great Britain by seizing... okay, yes, be careful. My enemy's friend is my... whatever, but yes, by allying itself with Great Britain, Germany declares war on Portugal, who earlier that year honored its alliance with Great Britain by seizing German ships anchored in Lisbon's harbour. Interesting times, 1916 parallels, right? With the... what's that moment in the First World War? I can never remember the name of the... it's Archduke Ferdinand moment. What has been that in this current conflict, do you think? With the outbreak of or do we only know that years after? Maybe we only know that years after, don't we? With the outbreak of World War I in 1914, Portugal became increasingly anxious about the security of its colonial holdings. And who doesn't get anxious about their colonial holdings in the morning, first thing in the morning? In Angola and Mozambique. Of course. It's all upside, isn't it? Conquering other places and making them into colonies. There is a certain trajectory to these things, as we have seen. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. I think I was told. Was that you, T-Duck, who said that to me? In order to secure international support for its authority in Africa, Portugal entered the war on the side of Britain and the Allies. Okay. So not necessarily for the purposes of world peace then and the betterment of humanity. No. Bon dia, everyone. Moaz, no need to worry. It's a pretty wet day out here in Portugal. And what's wrong with seeing the sunrise? Morning, Prof. Hope you're having a lovely week. It's nice that nickname is sticking for the Prof there. Bon dia, Gumpers from Brian. Morning, Brian. How are you? and it's a nice rainy day with a cup of hot chocolate. So is that where you are in the States? Is that what you're doing this morning, Moaz? And meant to be cats and dogs on Saturday. So Luke is making soup, and we will be having an extended backgammon. Well, tall travel tales and wild planned sessions. I do like rainy. I can imagine when you and Luke get together, Pete, with your travel tales. You're a well-travelled fella, as I recall, Pete, and I suspect Luke is as well. I'm reminded, not because it's Peter Bleach, or is it? But we're still guessing this Gumper here. Let me just remove that comment from the screen. Dry Ice Hockey Arena, California, 2009. Who is this? Who is this from our community? Who may or may not be here this morning? A key figure, you would say, you would acknowledge. I think in the goings on of the Good Morning Portugal and Expats Portugal collective communities. Okay, so who is that? Take a guess if you will, and please put that in the chat. Loving that. And this man will be here at 9 o'clock. Douglas Hughes, while I'm in the picture deck there. Oh, yeah, and a few other things while I'm here. A lovely slideshow to come from Victoria. Benson's Box Brownie coming up today. And tomorrow evening, this is great. I want to ask you about Premium and Premium Plus. Are you members? If you want to accelerate your travel plans to come to Portugal, join our Premium Plus posse. We handhold and take you through the steps needed to come to Portugal and introduce you to the people who we think are the best in the business. Tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, an evening with Gilda Pereira. Get all those visa questions answered. And a webinar tomorrow evening. Oh, did I download this or not? But Understanding Insurance in Portugal will be when you can talk to Nuno as well about that new product, that he mentioned yesterday. If you do need some insurance for the D7, he's your man. He's talking about this new product and also probably on the Premium Plus 9 o'clock session. I'm hoping he can join me for that as well next week. So the people on the Premium Plus who are really serious about coming to Portugal and want to get all the help they can, 9 o'clock is a Q&A session that I host, and we have a lot of fun. We go all over the place, metaphorically and actually on those evenings, just to dot all the I's, cross all the T's, and this will be one such place we go, talking about insurance for coming here. And this is the new D7 insurance product, incoming and welcome. You may have heard about it yesterday if you were here yesterday. So thank you for doing that, Nuno. Amazing response to an actual need in the community of people coming to Portugal. Dougie, I think, is limbering up in the green room and wondering what's on my microphone. What is that on your microphone, Carl? I don't think he was here for the unveiling, the unboxing earlier on. But there you go. Shout out to the premium members and the Premium Plus posse this morning, helping you get to Portugal and helping you get your discounts and benefits. And you helping us grow what we're doing as well by becoming members. Really appreciate that. Okay, so more comments, please. Let's have a look at these. Chris Smith, morning all. Are you refraining from slipping in a double entendre every now and then, Chris Smith? Come on, you wanna. Deagle's here as well, everybody. Bon dia, Carl. Ciao, Carl. A work meeting, 9 a.m. Very inconvenient. What is going on? Do these people not know that we are meeting each other here? You've got pre-existing, Deagle. Right as the Doc coming on, we'll watch later. Doc may or may not be here. He's got stuff going on with his motor, but he will call in, I think, from said workshop later on. So you can ask him about car stuff, which is an inevitability. Although, cars now in Portugal, I suppose, will make quite a nice place to sit outside the house. And that way you can save money on petrol. And fuel and gas, as you Americans call it. Feliz carta a todos from the Banana Slug Man, the original Banana Slug Man, James, and a nice Bon Dia Gumpers from OLP as well. Any questions though this morning? We had your question, OLP. Did any of you, when first getting to Lisbon, stay in a hotel for a few days? Doug, you might have a word to say about that. He's probably going to suggest that you go straight to the Algarve and have a few days there instead. Moa says, I've stayed at the Sheraton on my first visit. What's it like in there? And or the Sheraton. And on the second visit, I stayed in one of the Marriott hotels in Belém. That sounds wonderful. And what a great place to stay, Belém. So yeah, that's a thing to do, isn't it? To treat yourselves to somewhere really nice, OLP, on arrival, and really get to stay in luxury, not have to worry about anything from that point of view. And just go and enjoy your first few days in Portugal. Wander about in Lisboa. And bon dia from Ericeira. How was the surfing? Did you surf yesterday? When are we going to hear it? From you, Base Orbit. Bon dia from Elisera, Swara, and Base Orbit, aka Deb and Joey are here. How was it? How's it going? Carl, that was a nice article in the paper. It was very nice, wasn't it, that article in the paper? Thank you, OLP, for that, in the Portugal News. Oh, I wanted to share a couple of time's running out again. I've got two lovely videos. No, I've only got one lovely video. I've got two lovely videos to share with you. And also, I think I'll talk to Doug and the Doc about this because what's his name over at Ryanair has stuck to his threat and has cut 5,000 flights, 19 routes in Lisbon, and 150 well-paid jobs. Well-paid jobs in inverted commas. So what's his name? Not Michael Flatley. What's he called? The owner of Ryanair. But he stayed with his threat, and he's cut a load of flights. I wonder if that's permanent, and if you can mess around quite like that. I'd go with EasyJet personally. And had a nice evening with HOA. Oh, I should know what that means, but I don't. What does that mean? And another quote of the day: love is the cure, love is power, love is the magic of changes, love is the mirror of divine beauty. And I feel a peacefulness coming over me whenever I utter the words of Rumi. I wonder if the same can be said of George Carlin and Stephen Wright. Let's go back to those this morning. George Carlin saying today, the future will soon be a thing of the past. Ain't that the truth, George? And Stephen Wright. Okay, this is for the Doc, who's at the mechanics this morning for his car, not for himself. I could repair your brakes, so I won't. I couldn't repair your brakes, said the mechanic, so I made your horn louder. Very good, lateral thinking. A nice mechanical life hack there. Let's play a video, shall we? I got talking of being overcome with peacefulness, talking about Rumi. I think this goes together with that very beautifully. So let's share with you now Benson's Box Brownie, the first, I think, of an occasional series. She's such a good photographer. And here there are some of her recent photographs set to the music of another community member, Robert Yonker. Robert Yonker is one of our pals here, writes beautiful music, and he gave us this. It's called Algarve, and he describes it as a bit of an earworm. You may be just humming this to yourself later on today. So a couple of minutes of beautiful pictures from the Algarve. Oh no, that's the still. Here's your actual video. Oh, I need to take that off the screen there. That threw me. I thought this video is lasting a really long time. That's a still that that's an overlay. Wasn't that beautiful? Really lovely. Robert Yonker music and visuals by the Beachside Vagabond, who is Victoria Benson. Lovely. We'll keep those pictures coming, Victoria, because they are superb. And there's a few there I think that Dougie recognised as well. Isn't that superb? But back to a few more of your comments then. And I will do a 2-minute taster. We'll stay in the Algarve this morning because Dougie's here. It gets all Algarve flavoured when Victoria and Dougie are in the house. And the HOA is the Home Owners Association. Is that a euphemism for gumpers, or did you actually, the people of the neighbourhood, offer to take you out? If they did, isn't that nice? And I think that is the case. Had a nice evening with João, our first Portuguese house guest. Looking forward to getting together with you, Banana Slug. Isn't that amazing? How lovely. And a bon dia. Okay. A bon dia from Sharon and Jean, now living in Sintra. Isn't that amazing? No messing about there. Straight in, Sintra. Done. Boom. Bang. Sharon, great to have you here on the show this morning, and love to Jean as well. How wonderful. I do belong to the Bonvoy Marriott Rewards. Look at you. How was the one in Belém? Is that a long way from the Lisbon airport? Not really. You can get to Belém very easily. I think that's probably, a 20-minute taxi ride. But it'll be a lovely place to orient yourself, which is not a Lisbon joke. There is a place called Orient as well, is there not? But Belém, you will find yourself in the heights of of touristic and beautiful experience of being in Lisboa, in Belém. There, I'd say that's a great shout, great choice there. Superb. And yes, great question from Carlos, who is also just visiting at the moment. But look, hi Jean and Sharon, how are you guys adjusting? Isn't that a lovely question? And hola, bon dia kids from the aforementioned Victoria Benson. Love those photos. Fantastic. Pamela Smith is here. Don't worry, there is no citizen test. Is that? Oh, that's at Moaz. Don't worry about that. Good morning to you, Pam. And from Suze as well there. From Taxi, good morning. Carl, we use Teams for work, can try and help out if wanted. Do you know you're the first person who hasn't put Teams and an expletive in the same sentence from my small experience of the products? But yeah, that'd be great, Matty. Thank you. Loving Portugal, Oregonians loving Portugal. Check the Marriott Group website. They have 8 or 10 hotels starting at about €80. Starting, of course, at €80. That's not too bad, is it? A nice little treat when you arrive. Denise H is here. Morning to you. And just learning the ropes, says Sharon. That's on behalf of Sharon and Jean, I suspect. All good so far. You know where we are, Sharon and Jean. If you need any help, ask anything about Portugal Wednesday. Me, Dougie, and the Doc will do our best to help you. Today is my 7th anniversary of moving to Portugal. Parabéns to you, Pamela. Pamela, who takes integration very seriously, working hard with volunteers here in Portugal in the Alcobaça area, Silver Coast, of course, and learning the lingo. Knows of many great resources for learning Portuguese. So talk to Pam. You can book Pam as one of our Ask Our Expats team if you want to learn more about learning Portuguese from an expat point of view, or if you want to get involved in volunteering. And I think we'll be having a webinar on said subject soon too. Pamela, if you want to spill the beans on that, you're welcome to in the chat. And congratulations to you from Michelle. Thank you for your email overnight, Michelle. Very good to hear from you. Thank you very much for that. And igualmente, right back at you, to you and yours as well. The €20 thing, my hack for not being affected by rising fuel prices. You see, I only ever put €20 in. That hasn't gone up or down at all in the recent trouble of rising and inflationary prices. But Carl, that €20 thing works until the man at the gas station tells you to hand him your lighter for a refill. Very good. Excellent stuff. €20 to refill your lighter. Is that coming our way, I wonder? I think there's going to be another upsurge in the sales of Portuguese bikes, I think. So by way of an introduction to the new resident on a second Wednesday and Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday, by way of an introduction to him and his personality. Some of you will have tasted Doug before, so to speak. Here's another one of his 2-minute tasters, and we'll talk to him right after this. And the Doc may join us at some point as well.
Thank you, Carl, and good morning, one and all. Today we're in Algarve on the Algarve. Well, guys and gals, that's it indeed. Our little 2-minute taster series comes to an end with our little trip here to Algarve. Thank you all for watching.
How about that? And Dougie's here. He's going to join him. Let's have him join us. I mean, Doug, formally dressed, looking good morning. How are you, sir?
I've made myself feel quite jealous looking at all those lovely pictures of the Algarve there, and I love the music and everything Victoria did. What lovely photographs!
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Both of you, very talented, and both sharing your love of the Algarve there. Yes, so you're in Wales, right? Wishing you were back in the Algarve, presumably seeing that.
Absolutely, yes. Do you know? You were talking about the fuel situation earlier on.
Yeah.
My missus, when I got back from Portugal, said, "Right, you've got to take me somewhere really expensive now." And I took her down the petrol station.
Hey, you're all heart.
I
You're
am.
all heart. Oh, Doug, so good to have you here. You'll be with us now once a month on this second Wednesday. Ask anything about Portugal, folks. So seriously, I'm trying to find among the many banners I've got here. Ask the Doug or the Doc this morning because he is here to hand over his glistening baton to you. That I hope you will grasp firmly and lovingly and take
I will.
into. Oh, I will, he says, needing no further encouragement there. So are you looking forward to this gig and sharing your love of Portugal?
Absolutely. Well, I am indeed. You know, I've, as I said, in a previous visit onto your show, I've been coming for a few years. I don't claim to know everything about Portugal, of course. Probably less than most, but what little gems I have, I'm willing to share.
Yeah. How many years is that then, Doug? And you're right what you say. I mean, you're never going to know everything about this wonderful place, are you? We talk to Portuguese people, don't we, who are still learning things just by watching this show, which we're delighted about.
True. Um, if if you condense all my visits, I guess you can add it all up, and I've spent less, or maybe just around about 2 years if you add all the months up in Portugal. I mean,
You're
yeah,
lucky.
but they've been intense 2 years.
Good. And those that was the last of your 2-minute tasters in that format, but I'm going to make sure they all go up onto YouTube. The first one is up there already, and as a bit of a tickle for the YouTube members as well. But I'll make that available to everybody, as I will with all 10 of those. And thanks again, mate, for doing those. Really appreciate it. Let's go to the comments then. How are you feeling about people asking you anything about Portugal this morning?
Depends what they ask.
Indeed. Let's find out. Let's find out. Hola, bon dia. Oh, looks like I have a quick trip to the Silver Coast next month. Yay. Fantastic. Looking forward to seeing you then, Coach Turner. When it comes to the old keep fit and growing old disgracefully, I think you're playing the part when it comes to the Epicurean delights, right? Nice glass of wine, decent food.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you say you take a comprehensive approach to growing old disgracefully, Doug?
I do. I mean, like most people of my age group, sort of approaching retirement and all that sort of thing. Somebody once said to me, if a good friend of mine who lives in Zagreb, he said, "Life's too short to drink bad wine."
Well done, well done. I see you were avoiding the subject of exercise there. We'll come back to that on a later occasion. But lifting a glass in alternate hands, I suppose, it will cover it for now. Bon dia, my friends, just paid 167 a litre for diesel. And oh my word, and to replace my 1,000 litres of heating oil, which cost me what? £510 and 40 British pence last time, has risen. Look at this, nearly 3 times the original amount, £1,489 and 85 pence. What's going on over there in the United Kingdom?
Like it's happening everywhere, isn't it? The even before this conflict, the price of oil and gas was skyrocketing, but now, of course, it's going beyond all reason, and there's nothing we can do about it, unfortunately.
Well, I hope that's not true. I suspect in many ways you're right. And we need to start thinking outside this box, don't we? In which which is increasingly a smaller box, it feels like. I mean, this is crazy. This is just straight up crazy, isn't it? And it isn't just the UK, as you say. We're moving on today from Porto to Coimbra. So anything to share with Carlos and Lisa about Coimbra, I'm sure will be gratefully received. And Pam, yes, Pam is going for citizenship, so we should be able to stay in touch with that journey as well, Pam. If you're happy to document that with us, that would be lovely, and come on and talk about that at some point. Sam Nazare is here as well. And what is this? Greatly looking forward to finishing the last of getting here paperwork and documentation, says James, so I can begin exploring more. Currently working on driver's license exchange. See T-Duck about that. And then I think I will be there. Yeah. You can only do what you can do, and it's work in progress. I think that's one of the things to learn about Portuguese bureaucracy, is it will never be done and dusted. It's work in progress, isn't it, Doug?
Yeah. Fortunately, I personally haven't had to deal with a great deal of it because I'm not a resident or anything like that. But of course, during my truck trips over the years, I've known plenty of people who've had to face it. And it can be a hair-pulling exercise, can't it?
Not literally. They don't pull your hair at Seth, not literally. Anyway, but yes, yeah, you can lose a bit, can't you? And some of it go a bit grey as well in that process.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, morning all from Elra. Elra's here as well. And yeah, T-Duck asking Pam, please let us know how the process goes. So citizenship diary possibly there from Pam, if you're up for that. Pips is here as well. Pippa in Botswana, bon dia to you. What a sweetie. Is she referring to you, Doug? I think she might be there. And Diogo is saying bon dia, Algarve. Where are you there as well? That looks like, if I had to choose whether that's the UK, where I know Diogo finds himself, or Portugal, I'm thinking that's a Portuguese picture with the quality of that light there. What is the best way to send a video to GMP? 913-590-303. I'm going to put that onto the screen for you now. I'm going to make sure I'm not losing some of the other banners, though. I mean, we have so many wonderful guests here every day, pretty much. We have someone new and different joining us, and an amazing team they all are, including Doug here early on in his residency. Ask anything about Portugal, folks. That's what we're doing. Hashtag AAAP. But pics and voice messages, we'll take those as well to the studio on 913-590-303 base orbit, especially for you, that number there, if you want to send us something fantastic. So sweet. But Doug, your reviews are already coming in and they're very favorable.
They just... I haven't had a review like that for years.
I bet you're glad you're here then. Hank is the guest, the bumper in the hockey uniform. We'll come back to that. Guest the bumper in hockey uniform. Yeah, well, we'll see. And I think other guesses along those lines have been received as well. So thank you for that, OLP. Bon dia todos from Paul, Louise, and Lottie. We've not been able to join in the mornings for a while. We've sat here at the kitchen table drinking un café. Oh, what a great start to the day. I've got water at the moment, but I'll be joining you. What you got this morning? Got British tea?
No, it's an empty cup of coffee.
No dear. All right. Wish you all a great day from Nunu, who was here yesterday and will join us, of course, for the webinar on Thursday. And James, very happy to see Michelle there, I think. Is this from Jean? A question. Oregonians loving Portugal. Look at as janelas verdes. That's your green windows, isn't it? Really pretty and away from the tourist centre some. I haven't stayed there, but we were about to. Lots of online reviews. I think they're favourable by the sound of it. So do you know that hotel, Janelas Verdes, there in Lisboa, Doug?
Do you know, I have to put my hand on my heart straight away and say that I don't know that one.
Don't know that one.
When I go to Lisbon, I have a tendency to look for an apartment or an Airbnb or something of that ilk, for the simple reason I don't really fancy the idea of going and having an all-inclusive sort of dinner, bed and breakfast situation. I want to go out and eat in the different restaurants in Lisbon.
Very interesting that, though, because I mean what 20 or 30 years ago, everyone's dream would be to stay in a nice hotel where everything is taken care of. Airbnb have changed, haven't they? I mean, the whole way we approach tourism has changed massively in these last few decades. And Airbnb is talk about disruption. They've certainly disrupted how we go and stay in places. So in many ways, this whole thing of going to a hotel seems quite old-fashioned, doesn't it? But I must say I like it, and I think it's a bit like vinyl. We'll see more of a resurgence, I suspect. What's your view on that?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go for a special occasion, you want to, if I was to take my wife somewhere other than a petrol station, a nice hotel would fit the bill, wouldn't it? Really. So if you want to relax and and have everything done for you. Go down for tea and have room service and a bottle of wine
Yes.
or fizz brought up to your room and all that sort of thing, and then
Oh,
go
no.
down for a nice, several course meal at the end of the day. Fine, there's nothing wrong with that. That's lovely.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? And are you with me on that, thinking that there might be a resurgence? Because, I mean, for a little while, the hotel industry collectively must have thought Airbnb are killing us. But where's this going to end?
Well, it was people like Trivago and Booking.com for years. I mean, you get a similar setup there whereby you choose the type of accommodation you want or need. And then when I'm traveling around Portugal by car, I tend not to stand too much on ceremony, and
Mhm.
I just look for somewhere inexpensive so I can lay down my head, because that's all I do. I'll go in and sleep, and I'm off again in the morning to somewhere new.
Yeah, okay.
Mm,
And again, that's changed, isn't it? Because
mm,
people aren't putting so much into the stay. They're just wanting to, like you, get on the road again, and
yeah.
as you say, put their head down for the evening. As long as they can make a coffee and have somewhere reasonably nice to stay, without bed bugs and such things. I remember driving through France as an older teenager and staying in some rum old places long before Airbnb. If you've got any nice little stories like that to share with us this morning, please do. But it's all about asking anything about Portugal, even if you've been here for a long time. Do ask us. There are things that. I think yesterday I remember now. I was dropping the shutters on the house, and I was thinking to myself, I don't know how to do this right. My shutters are often in a different position to my neighbours' shutters, who are Portuguese. I have been here nearly 5 years, or 4.5 years, and I don't know how to use shutters correctly. How do I do that? That's my Ask Anything About Portugal contribution. I didn't grow up in a shutter culture. I grew up in a curtain twitching culture. I know how to twitch. I know how to twitch curtains in the appropriate way, but I don't know how to drop up and drop my shutters. So if anyone's got any input on that, be gratefully received by me. I have watched unpacking videos, but just how to see it's packed and what's included in the package. Oh, you're nosy, Matty. And Suze saw men buying flowers yesterday for International Women's Day. So 2 in 1 there. You could do that from the petrol station as well, couldn't you? And a nice little jerry can of petrol. Yes, not in Canada, as far as I know, but a tradition here. How about Portugal? So in Wales, were those specially for International Women's Day yesterday as a thank you and an acknowledgement, Doug?
No, they were bought for my missus, but I didn't buy them though.
Oh, really? Okay, let's leave that mystery. Let's leave that mystery hanging there then. Choking hazard. Yes, that was my banana slug. Don't let Mandela get near that slug, Gilda. Indeed, I'll keep that well away from that little rascal. And literally laughed out loud. I don't know which bit you're laughing out loud at there. Rebel Mama wants to know, from Pam then, no citizen test. You do have to have A2 level Portuguese written and oral. That's a test. No, it is a test. But you don't have to do the historical cultural stuff. But we've got all the help we could wish for with that. The prof by our side, and all the wonderful Portuguese people who tune in with us as well. His disappointingly flaccid slug lay across his microphone. Stop it. And Pam to Rebel Mama, there is a language test, but some countries also have a citizen test where you have to know about culture and history. Portugal does not. Okay, so not that one of that kind. Raj is here as well. Morning, Raj. How are you? And Baddy too. Bon dia, Gumpers. Counting down the days until I join. How many is it exactly, Baddy? And hola, bon dia, gente. Estou agora ao laboratório para o meu test. Oh, I thought that was an anal test there. Annual test. These things happen, don't they, from time to time? Annual de sang, annual health test. Okay, not the other one. Tija. So I think you're off to the laboratory to get the results of that. Good luck, of course, with that, Rebel Mama. And Fine Young Cannibals. All the Fine Young Cannibals, 1960s film starring Robert Wagner and Natalie Wood. They don't make them like that anymore, do they, Doug?
Gosh, no. But the Fine Young Cannibals are the 80s group, as far as I'm concerned.
But absolutely. With Roland
FYC, weren't they?
Roland Gift at the front there. Johnny, we're sorry. That was him, wasn't it? From Hull, I think, in the UK. But yeah, they've taken their name from this movie by the sound of it. It's Hank, says James, and Hank is Guess the Gumper. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to leave that hanging like a hockey stick in a changing room. I've said it was Hank since the first day you put up the pic. All right, OLP. Special props for you, should you be right. Bon dia Gumpers from a sunny for now, Nadadura. Oh, and while we're talking about that, let me tell you that we have our first official Silver Coast meetup today. So Wednesdays it is. And you can join the WhatsApp group, same number, the studio number, 913-590-303, from about 1 o'clock. And I've said Portuguese time. So, around 1 o'clock, let's not get our knickers in a twist about it. And, let's not be worrying too much about being there bang on 1. Sometimes I might be there at 12:30 if I'm really hungry. Sometimes it might be a little after 1, but around 1 and for a couple of hours, a meet up there. And I would love to see this template copied around the world. And maybe, Dougie, you'll host some when you come back over. Of course.
As long as you do the barbecuing, Carl, because I'm no good at it.
No. We'll put the money into the local economy, Doug. Just pick your favorite hostelry and invite people over. So please copy this template and create little gatherings all around Portugal, and make sure you invite local people from the local community as well, because I think those are the best kind of gatherings. Nothing colonial here. I just had a thought, Doug. With Brexit and everything, you're limited to 90 days, aren't you? Was there any obvious check of that when you were coming in and out of the country?
I didn't. No is the answer, frankly, because it's you're only allowed to spend 90 days within an area that's within the Schengen zone, I believe it is. Anything outside the Schengen zone, you can chop and change it. You can go and spend, say, 14 days out of your 19 and that can be carried over, apparently. It's really disrupted a lot of people's plans. I mean, people who wanted to come, say, in motorhomes, or people who'd already bought a villa or a small apartment or something in Portugal and plan to spend the whole winter over there. Well, that's kibosh now, isn't it?
You got to go after 90 days.
Yeah.
I believe within a 180-day period.
Yeah.
And that's not just Portugal, because that was as it dawned on people. It was like, I can't be in Portugal for 91 days. I can only come for 90 days. But at least I can go to Spain or France thereafter. It's like, actually, no, it's for the whole area. It's not just for Portugal. So something to be aware of. But I can't imagine. I do imagine it. That's going to be very difficult to measure, isn't it? And there's going to be a lot more passport control with that. How is that going to be measured?
The thing I noticed is something that wasn't done at all before, when the UK was part of the EU, is now you get your passport stamped.
That's how it's done.
I mean, it sounds not very technical, does it? Bang onto that stamps your passport. It sounds like the old paper way of doing things. You'd think that they'd scan something and.
Yes, you'd think so. So it's nothing entered on a computer. It's just a rubber stamp.
That's all I've. Of course, you have to. I've never known a customs person to scan my passport unless I go through the electronic one, which is
right.
You scan then by default, isn't it? But
yes,
normally I go through the normal ones because I'm hopeless with technology. It always goes wrong for me. So I just pass it to the guy and he puts a stamp on it, and that's the extent of it as far as I can see. I'm sure there are other ways.
And there you are, standing there with your pith helmet, feeling like Phileas Fogg because you've got another stamp in your passport.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. Okay, yeah. So it's going to go electronic, isn't it? And that's how they'll manage it, of course, in the future. But I suspect there is, and as I understand it, the whole thing in Portugal is scaled up to something bigger across Europe, where there will be greater. There'll be a larger, not universal, obviously, but an EU kind of border force that will be measuring this, I think, for people who aren't inside the club anymore, or who have never been.
If ever there was a time, and I voted for Brexit. If ever there was a time, now's the time that one tends to feel regrettable about the whole matter, because if ever there was a need for unity,
yes, indeed.
Now's it.
Yes, yeah. Okay, well, it's a good job the doc's not here, isn't it? Because that could have flared up a little bit. Your admission there, but it wasn't exactly a nuanced choice, was it? It was a very brutal tool, whose effects are being felt as we speak. Benson's boxed brownie. Que fofo. Oh, that's a lovely bit of turn of Portuguese phrase there. Thank you very much, Victoria, approving of the name of these videos that I hope will be many. Thank you for that, your validation there, Victoria. Thank you for your photos. We're famous,
The
Doug.
photos were awesome. I loved them. They were great,
Really
weren't they?
beautiful,
And I
right?
just love that music too. That was whoever did that was immensely talented.
Well, that's Robert Yonker, and let me make sure you've got a link to his website as well. Robert's, I think, from the United States, now living in Portugal, and writes this beautiful music. And I think had us in mind for that with the name Algarve, and was trying to write something of an earworm. I can still hear it going around in my head as well, so I think he's succeeded with that. And I'm going to put up the link to his website. So if you want to go and, I think you can download that as along with some of his other beautiful. It's spiritual music that Bob does, and I'm going to put a link in now. So shareddreamsmusic.com is what you're looking
Perhaps
for.
I'll feature some of it and on the next 2-minute taster I will one day do for you guys.
Absolutely. Get in touch with Robert Yonker there. Credit where it's due for Robert. And that's, I don't know, I think that's how he makes his living. And I think it's important, isn't it, to give the appropriate credit and buy the music rather than just nicking it. And YouTube's got a way of dealing with that, as we've discovered. Hey, Doug. Nadadura next to Todo Prata. Sarah Smith, good morning to you. Sarah, how you doing? And Bon Dia Portugal, wishing to be there with you all, but here in England, we have the cold and sun, but life is, we can't have it all. Yes, you can't always get what you want, famously said. Happy New Day to all. Thanks, Diogo, there. Nice T-shirt, mate. Sun's out in Praia de Rocha, though, but rain forecast for later in the week never lasts long. Come on, those questions. Ask anything about Portugal. We're just, nothing wrong with this. We're just hanging out and having a chat here on the Good Morning Portugal show, but we're here to serve, aren't we, Doug?
It was great looking at Victoria's pictures and the was it the blue bar?
Yeah,
And that was it. That's in Albufeira, in the top part of Albufeira. And it was only a matter of days ago, really. I was sitting there having a drink. So it was quite surreal to see it on screen.
So you recognised a few of those delights there.
Yeah, that bar actually featured in the video I did about Albufeira. You've not shown my little offshoot, my little offcut where I got my feet wet. I'll have to send you that one again, won't I?
Yes, you will. You will. That doesn't ring a bell. Sun's out in Praia de Rocha, says Victoria, but rain forecast for later in the week. It never lasts long. The rain, that is, I think she's talking about. Thank you for that. He's a very busy man. Is that the slug? Ha ha ha. They modelled that microphone ornament after my current profile pic. I think I'm going to have to give this to you. I've been fondling it off camera, and it doesn't feel very nice, I have to say. It's not it's not one of the best things I've fondled in my life. Lol, Victoria, Big Benson, we've been begging for rain. Nice to see. Finally have it and kick on with spring. So many blooms to see. Fantastic. And of course, Michael O'Leary at Ryanair. What do you make of this, Doug? I'm going to bring this onto the screen now because it's a bit of aviation-related saber rattling.
Yeah.
This is O'Leary sticking to his threat. I'm going to pop this on the screen so you all can see it.
My understanding of this is that he's cancelled some routes to Lisbon. Is that correct? Or some?
Very true, mate. And look, not just some, but 5,000 flights.
Right.
19 routes to Lisbon and 150 what he calls well-paid jobs. I'm not. Do we believe him when he says he pays his staff well? Maybe he does. So Ryanair has apparently made good on its recent threat to cut flights and routes in and out of Lisbon unless the government ceded slots held by TAP by March the 4th. So he's holding the government to ransom, wanting a bit more of the action, but now facing less of it. In a statement issued today, the low-cost Irish airline claims it has been forced to reduce the number of aircraft based in Lisbon for the summer of 2022. Where do they go? And this too will lead to the loss of 150 well-paid jobs. Well, that's not good for those individuals, is it? The nuts and bolts of the situation are that instead of having 7 aircraft based in Lisbon, Ryanair will now have 4, and this will cause the cancellation of 5,000 flights. Nearly 1 million passengers. Look at that, 900,000 passengers. I suppose 100,000 is quite a long way off. Do you see what I did there? A bit of media-style exaggeration, but that's still a lot of passengers and 19 routes.
Somebody else will pick up the slack, though. Surely, you know, there's business there to be had, isn't there?
Yeah. Thank you for that, Prof. Who's your favourite carrier then coming over to and from the UK into Portugal, Doug?
So far, I've actually only used EasyJet.
Okay.
They've had their policies have been a little bit more open. I mean, what O'Leary and his band of used to do was flag up a very cheap headline price, and then by the
Yes.
time you've added everything onto it, which you would need, they weren't optional extras. You needed them, baggage,
Yeah.
etc., etc. It ended up vastly more expensive than the headline price. So it wasn't a
Yes.
very honest way of flashing it up. It's just, oh look, it's only so and so much. But by the time you've
Yes.
totted it all up, of course,
If you needed a
much
seat,
more.
for example, if you needed a seat, you had to pay more. Those sorts of things. Yeah, and people, you tire of that, don't you? I think people will be happy with an honest price that's maybe a bit more than the ridiculous. Only pay £1 or something like that.
Yeah.
Only by the end of it to have paid, going into 3 figures or whatever because you've fallen foul of some smart marketing. But anyway, we'll see how that pans out. EasyJet is your recommendation. TAP are good as well, aren't they? But
I've
EasyJet.
never. I tend to fly when I come because I live in North Wales. I tend to fly from Liverpool, and TAP at this stage don't operate from Liverpool, John Lennon. So to fly TAP, I'd have to go the extra mile, as it were, to Manchester or somewhere else.
Sounds great when you said that. That Liverpool, John Lennon, amazing. And take another plane, I suppose, is what TAP. Some people think TAP stands for, but in my experience, they've been okay. I don't mind paying more for petrol, gasoline, if it helps the Ukrainian people against that tyrant. Yeah, and of course, it helps the governments because there's a nice lot of duty on all of those prices as well, isn't there? Which I notice isn't being shrunk at all in our hour of need or global need. Bon dia todos from Antonio F. Antonio is here. If you can splash it, it's your money. The last time I stayed in Sardinia, a flight with TAP. Oh, so a TAP fan there from Diogo did get this nice gift. Buy one, get one free 3 years ago. Time flies when you're alive, mate. Enjoy it and all the best to you. Happy new day. Thanks, Diogo, for that. So Sardinia and splashing out a bit and having a bit of a treat. We're looking for a commercial space to host our dance parties with brunch and meditation. Ooh, sounds like that'll go down perfectly well. Which beach can you see that happening on in the Algarve? It's a Sagres way, I think, with a bit of meditation, brunch, and some music.
Do you know there is some ooch music goes on in Sagres, and as you did earlier on, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. I mean, there's an awful lot of very zen people who congregate on the beaches in Sagres, and they seem to have a wonderful time there. And then when the evening comes, a few bevies and some boom boom boom, and off they go. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So Sagres is our offering or suggestion for that. Oh, the doc's trying to get in. Let's get the doc on the screen. We had a shared group with the links in, and he wants it in his own. He's been a bit of a diva, doc, I think, this morning. And some nice pickies in late yesterday from Jean. I'm just reminded because Jean's here this morning, and this is New Jersey that we're looking at. Some slightly chillier looking pictures, I have to say, and very evocative too. So I'm going to start downloading those and bring those to you. We are looking at, and I don't quite know how to pronounce this, but Shiny Cock Bay, which apparently is a place near New Jersey. So just downloading those pictures now of Shiny Cock Bay. Good job, Garvo's not here, isn't it? And lovely picture of Jean as well, and the end of the Dune Road maybe I haven't pronounced that correctly anyway. But those to come with you, very evocative. Thank you, Jean, for those, and thank you for being here this morning. Bon dia from the school run. From the Extons this morning. Yeah, Jean's here too. Moaz likes the Marriott Group because they have nice budget hotels like 4 points. Or was that 4-star? And I used my points for extra savings. Okay. I'm sure the doc will have something to say about staying in Lisboa. And he is here now. Just give us a thumbs up if you're ready to join us, Doc. No, he's not doing that yet. Oh, he is. He's happy. He's happy to join us on the screen. Look at this. Do you know what? It's like a British pub, the Dog and Duck.
No, that's my taxi coming for me.
Top day, I'm
How are you, Doug? Are you well?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Doug?
I'm very well, Doc. I see they've got your car repaired, which is a relief.
It was only light bulbs, but I can't change bulbs with one hand, and yeah, I thought it was just easier. And you know what? To change two bulbs, one front, one back. How much do you think?
Oh, 50 euro.
It's going to be expensive. In UK, what would that be, Doug?
Oh, at least 30 quid, wouldn't it? Because they have to strip the whole bloody car these days to get a bulb in, don't they?
They do.
20 euros.
Oh, that wasn't too bad, actually.
Fantastic. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Including the lamps?
Yeah.
Very good.
On a BMW,
very
not,
Yeah,
very good.
Not on the old Skoda truck like mine, but on a BMW, 20 euros. That's fantastic. They didn't see you coming.
So.
Okay.
Anyway, so let me just clear up a couple of points, can I? Carl, I wasn't being a diva. Listen, you always post the link in that private chat between you and me, and today you didn't. So that was why I couldn't get on earlier.
Sorry, Carl.
So it's your fault, Carl, I'm afraid.
Hands up to that. If I could offer you this banana slug by way of an apology, I'll put it in your mug. I've got a mug for you, so I'll stick that in the mug for you when I see you.
Carl, you are not going to believe it. I am going to offer to pay for a fourth mug because I broke another one yesterday. Honestly, it's so embarrassing. I've never been so clumsy as and actually I think it's got worse over the last couple of years, but obviously since my dominant hand was affected, and I still try and do things which I used to do with my right hand that I can't quite do with my left, and God, couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that. And Doug, I don't blame you for voting Leave. I voted Remain, but there was so much disinformation peddled by your hero head of government. But there were many very intelligent people fooled, and many not so intelligent. So no, I don't blame you.
Okay.
That's what happened, unfortunately, isn't it? Yeah. People are beginning to live to see the folly of it, I'm afraid. Especially people who like me are spending more and more time in Europe. There are restrictions now that weren't there before. So people like me may have shot themselves in the foot somewhat.
Yeah, and the big problem is it's a lot longer road to get back in than it was to get out.
Yeah, can't see it happening, can you, at this stage?
Well, first of all, it'll need a change of public opinion, which I think is happening. Secondly, it'll need a change of government. And then thirdly, it'll need that to continue while the EU and ah about whether or not they're going to let this recalcitrant toddler back into the fold.
Yeah,
I think very, very, very ably put, Doc. And you just stayed the right side of gloating there. So thank you very much for that this morning.
I wouldn't gloat. I had friends who voted Leave, and I tried to have a sensible and reasoned discussion with them at the time. They just weren't seeing it.
Yeah. My worry at this stage is the cornerstone of the European project is, of course, Germany, and they are at the mercy now of Vladimir Putin, who has his hand hovering, not fortunately over the red button, but over another button, which is the one that'll turn off the gas, which they are so heavily reliant on. By strangling Germany, of course, they strangle Europe.
Yeah, I think he'll do it, but I'm just hopeful that there will be, before he does it, I hope they're working hand over fist to build capacity elsewhere. I mean, they've got nuclear. They could temporarily reopen coal, and they will have to, as one idiot in the UK the other day put. and UK isn't in this situation, they might well have to put on a couple of extra layers. But metaphorically, but it's an appalling situation, and
Whilst you're touring around in your motor car there, I bet you're noticing increasing fuel prices in Portugal. I mean, some types of fuel were over €2 a litre when I was there.
Yeah, BP notoriously yesterday I saw prices at €2.04 a litre.
Wow.
We still managed to get under 70 in Intermarché, and of course this month we've had the increased subsidy from the government up to 10 cents a litre from 5, but still only on a maximum of 50 litres. So I'll probably register our 15-year-old daughter's NIF for another 50 litres before the end of the month.
Is that all? They'll only grant that reduction on a maximum of 50 litres per month, or
per person per month.
That isn't all that generous, is it? Really, when you think about it.
Well, no, but I mean, we've managed to get up and down to Lisbon several times on it, and picking people up from the airport mostly and dropping them back when we've had enough of them. But it's not too bad. Of course, I'm in a diesel which has fairly good.
So that works out at around about 10 gallons, 50 litres, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there we go. Rising fuel prices. Well done, gentlemen, for that erudite input on the Brexit situation. Has no bright spark in politics come up with a new association to join, like an alternative European collective? I suspect that's somewhere out there, isn't it?
Well, Boris Johnson thought we'd do well in the Pacific free trade area. What kind of a bonkers idea was that, honestly?
It should be European focused, shouldn't it, to be fair? It should have something to do with Europe.
So what's it going to be? Switzerland, Andorra, and that's about it, isn't it?
Yeah, there aren't that many outside the block, are there?
Bear with me. It's a bit out there, but some of the southern European states that have felt a little bit poorly done by might want to join.
Agree.
Yeah.
Problem is they're not rich enough as a bloc. They would be overshadowed by their wealthy northern neighbour.
Yeah.
What we need is a people's Europe, which is something which a number of us on the left, sorry, Doug, have been pushing for a long time. That we need a more democratic, a more people solution focused bloc than the liberal free market oriented bloc that has done so well in the last 50 years.
And that, of course,
it's certainly being strangled now, isn't it? That's for sure.
And that's why, of course, some people were inspired to vote Leave as well. But perhaps enough said on that for the time being. I think we all know.
The thing about the capitalist way of operating is that very few people realised how much it rested on a knife edge, and how little had to go wrong for the pack of cards to come tumbling down. Which is what we're actually seeing now.
Indeed, yeah. And I think your orientation absolutely spot on, Doc. It wasn't about people in the end, was it? It was about corporatocracy again. But there you go. This is a lovely sentiment that's coming in from Paul, Louise, and Lottie, telling the OLP that I'm planting sunflowers this year in solidarity with Ukraine. Might be able to get veg oil out of there to run your motor as well with the sunflowers. But all joking aside, that'd be an amazing motif, wouldn't it, to see across Europe? The planting of sunflowers for peace and for solidarity, and a kind of red carnation gesture that we're sick of it. We're absolutely sick of it. We just want to live in peace. And here are just kilometers upon kilometers of sunflowers growing.
Here's a question I'd like to put to you, Andy. I've read, and I'm sure you have, that some people are surmising about Vladimir Putin's health, and there's been some things said that the man is suffering from bowel cancer. And one of the reasons is, the moon face steroidal
Yes.
medication can generate in people on those kind of medication. Some people are identifying him as being suffering from this phenomenon. And what's your take on it, Doc?
Well, yeah. Whether it's bowel cancer or something else, I think he's on steroids for something. It does look like that. You also wonder why, apart from being a total what's the word, egotistical maniac, that he has all his advisors down one end of a 30-foot table and him at the other, unless it's because he's worried about his immune system. So there are there's very few, and there have been a couple, but very few occasions on which he's been photographed in close proximity to anyone. So I suspect that, it may be steroids on their own. It may be steroids plus something. And for whatever reason, he's on steroids, and bowel cancer is as good a reason as any at his age. But
what about this notion that steroidal medication can cause erratic behavior? Is this true?
Yeah, absolutely. Steroid psychosis is a well-known phenomenon, as is steroid-related behavioral changes that aren't psychotic. Hopefully the end will come quickly, but not too painlessly. And hopefully, it might actually come courtesy of some of his inner circle, rather than the illness or the medication that he's on.
Did either of you, Carl, or anybody watching, notice his advisors and his generals' faces when he started banging the nuclear drumbeat?
Absolutely, yeah.
Incredulous.
I mean, there are, the stories coming out now from Russian mothers and wives and girlfriends of the soldiers who've been sent to Ukraine, who thought they were going on drills. Those who've been who've been taken prisoner of war, and their military unit was still saying, "Oh, he hasn't left Russia." Incredible.
Yeah.
Yep. Gentlemen, if I can take your attention away from there for a moment, and lots of people are, I think, following in this idea of growing sunflowers. Great idea. Just a very beautiful thing. If nothing else, to see across to all of Europe, that'd be quite extraordinary. But we've got some great news just in. Morning all, please raise those coffee cups or whatever it is you expats drink in the morning. Expats Portugal had 10,000 members this morning. So fantastic. Who doesn't like a member in the morning? 10,000. That's fantastic. So if you're not over there as part of the community in that manifestation of Expats Portugal, what's wrong with you? Go to expatsportugal.com/community and join that swelling throng of membership over there that is 10,000 strong as of this morning. Thank you, Jerry, for that very much indeed. Superb. Opinions won't change about Brexit, but the demographics will. That's an interesting comment. Well said, Prof. And yes, Cindy B, I too am planting sunflowers. Now, there may be one or two Ask Anything About Portugal questions here this morning. Yes, because that's what we came here for.
Can I just say, Carl, that Sarah and anyone else is welcome to email me regarding questions. And there was a question about finding a property. Just stick something obvious in the subject line, so I know it's not spam, because I get about 1,000 emails a week or something stupid. So.
With all those Viagra emails as well. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. And we'll make sure you've got Doc's contact details for that. Oh my goodness, we've got so many comments and chats to come back to. So yeah, that was all Albufeira looking at Benson's box brownie earlier on, and
lovely Victoria. They're wonderful pictures.
Robert Yonker is the man, and Shared Dreams Music. That link is in the chat. Who was the artist? Robert Yonker. Didn't quite catch the name, but James, very happy to see Jean here this morning. Let's scroll through these. Joao F is here. Fantastic. Have you had a chance to explore your coffee options? Oh, Where are you on the many coffees of Portugal? Quickly then, gentlemen, your favourite Portuguese coffee, Doug?
Oh, I like it all, but the one they brand is it Sika? I
Oh,
quite like that brand.
in what shape? What style
Oh,
of
what
coffee?
type of coffee? I like a Bika Shale.
Oh, well, okay. So like a shot of coffee topped up with a bit of hot water in
Yeah,
the small espresso
yeah.
cup.
I don't like it so my teaspoon or coffee spoon stands up in it. It needs a bit of water.
Okay, it needs a bit of water in there. What about
Yeah.
you, Doc?
Uma batonado, por favor.
Yeah, of
I
course.
love the batonada.
Oh, man, okay. So in the bigger cup with looking more like an Americano. I
Yeah.
want to see flamingos. Have either of you seen flamingos here in Portugal? They come to the Óbidos Lagoon, of course. Either of you seen them?
Doc?
Did we see them? Oh, we saw a couple on the salt flats at the mouth of the Mondego. But my best experience of flamingos wasn't Portugal. It was in Kenya, at the mouth of a river, and literally it was just a carpet of pink. So if you get the equivalent experience in Portugal, in Óbidos or anywhere else, absolutely fantastic. Don't miss it.
Well,
And
the ones featured in that last 2-minute taster was near Algarve.
Yeah.
There were some flamingos there.
Very good. Alvor, flamingos. Doc wasn't talking to his imaginary friend there when he just turned right to ask a question. I think Leona's here. Morning, Leona.
Good morning, Leona.
Bon dia, tudo bem. And very good seafood in Alvor as well. That's what the flamingos were after, the crustaceans there. In Lisboa, from Louise, the metro is very easy to use and connects most places of interest. In between stations, there are lovely streets to walk through. So there, OLP, you can have a great time. The Lost into Miami Vice. I wonder what that is referring to there. Visited Alvor, says Coach Turner, a couple of weeks ago. It's lovely. Had the best sea bass dish I've ever eaten. Love that the fishermen still operate out of that little port. Oh, sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Bon dia, Duck. Sorry, not Duck. Doc. All right, me Duck.
All right, Doc.
The flamboyance of flamingos make a great look-alike ride. That's us, that is, isn't it? So proud of the people of Fundao. A great Arctic arrived, an articulated lorry with supplies in the Ukrainian, and 46 refugees arrived back here. Such a generous and caring community there. Fundao, nice one. Thank you very much for that. Oh, and this is where you were still locked out, I think, waiting to get the car fixer, not really following. I was going to ask you, Doc. I mean, you didn't get your indicator lamps changed on a BMW, did you? Because they wouldn't have been worn out.
No, it was the low beam headlight and the brake light. One at the front, one at the back, obviously, and I don't need to attract the attention of the GNR any more than I already do. So.
Very good, very good. Doug, are you planning to move to Portugal? Or are you just going to remain a swallow, Doug, flying back and forth?
At this stage, I can't really answer that. I'd love to, but I've got to get the rest of the family aboard before I can do that. I mean, I'd love to. I mean, I do spend a great deal of time over there, and I'm always sorry to come back home to the miserable British weather, to be frank.
Okay. Yeah, indeed. Okay. Keep Plague Island. Keep us informed there. Wales is a little bit different, though. You've always got the beauty.
It's got a socialist government. That's why.
Yeah, quite right. Doc, right?
He doesn't miss an opportunity, does he? Good luck with the car. Hope it's swift and you're back on the road. So here he is, living proof. Carl said you might know of a rental property near you. Now, we know of a lot of people in need of rentals and purchases of properties. It was a different Thompson I was referring to. However, Doc might know of somewhere, and we can put you in touch with the Doc if he knows of somewhere. I reckon, Doug, cut your brakes. This show is full of...
That is just scurrilous, and what a terrible thing to say.
Terrible thing to say. But you have to say that, really.
I've got my angle grinder in my pocket.
Yes, who doesn't like the smell of cut brakes in the morning? Yes, it was Portimao's 3 years ago. No, Praça da Câmara Municipal. Oh, so a lovely picture of you there. Nice one, Diogo. Thank you for that. Obviously in Portugal with that quality of light. And he sounds so grumpy. about the cup being empty. I laughed out loud. Yeah, has anyone filled up your coffee for you? We need a lot of coffee.
No, I need this filling up. I really
do.
do.
You do. So it's not like half full or half empty. It's just straightforward empty.
It's just absolutely, completely, drained, that one. I'm afraid.
Yes. And Victoria...
So
Victoria is admiring your blooms. Oh, he's frozen up. He hasn't had enough coffee. He has actually literally frozen on the screen. Rascal is a great word. Yes, it is. Love to use the word whenever possible. I'm like Doug. I always stay in an apartment from Airbnb. You sure do save lots of money, and I feel like a local. There is that, of course. Capricorn, Chris. Pieces of a dream, warm weather. Nice one. Based on the fuel crisis right now, living off grid with boreholes, solar panels equals freedom from the market somewhat. Don't it just? We were talking, Doc, about staying in Lisbon. Hotel experiences. You've stayed in one or two hotels in Lisbon. What's your favourite bit? And have you got any recommendations there?
I only stayed in Airbnb, not hotels. So the last Airbnb we stayed at. I'm not very good with my geography of Lisbon. Related to the airport, it was a little bit so down towards the castle.
Oh yeah,
that was all right. And then the other place we stayed at was very near the river, just to the east of the cathedral, in that bit there. So yeah, both nice. But to be honest, the transport is so good if you're not in a wheelchair. But the transport is so good that anywhere would be good.
Yeah.
The thing with Airbnb, when you're actually booking them, they'll tell you how far the premises are from various amenities. So, say 1,500 yards or less sometimes. And so it happens also on Booking.com. And so you can choose somewhere, so you can literally step outside onto where all the restaurants and bars are, and just take it from there. And of course, you have the choice then of a whole entire plethora of different eateries and drinkeries and what have you.
Superb. Thank you for that. So more on the Airbnb side then for these gentlemen here. I stayed in a hotel, says Prof, in St. Louis, Missouri, and the TV had stolen from the Super Motel St. Louis, branded into it. So advice there for any hotel owners, if you want to keep hold of your stuff. I want to know, when you rent or buy a place, who do you call to get a test check on the quality of the tap water? Why are you laughing, Doc?
Well, I'm laughing because actually probably almost anywhere in Portugal, the water is going to be better than most places elsewhere. But you know what? I've no idea is the answer. If I was worried, I'd drink the bottled water. If it doesn't look brown, I'd probably not worry.
Or drop a slug into it and see, maybe. But if you go to your Câmara Municipal, which you may have to do to get your water bill changed to your name, I suspect they will know people who test water, and it might be on an old property. You might, or a borehole or something like that. You might need to get the water before you drink it. So at the Câmara, I suggest Capricorn 12 recommending this to you. 4-star hotel in Sagres, Memo Baleira. 5-star Martinho Sagres. Yeah, love Martinho. Hotel in Nazaré, Miramar Sul. All very lovely places to stay with fantastic locations.
The hotel Memo Baleira is beautiful. It really is, and it's got a fabulous view over toward the Docker.
Yeah,
and the bay leading out towards Praia da Luz and that part of the coastline.
So a docker, not as in a man bending over, showing off his Dagenham cleavage and unloading things from boats.
Oh no, not that kind of docker. No.
What kind of docker?
Dagenham. No. The docker is where they land all the lovely fish and in Zagreb. And there's actually a proper auction facility down there where they sell the fish to the open market, and you can go there and watch. Okay, nice one. Okay, so all of those delights in the docker there. So Jean's here. I found the tap water in Tavira delicious, like mountain spring water. That sounds good. So I love the opportunity to show your picture there. And you said it's Shincock. I'm calling it Shiny Cock Bay, which could presumably get it a load more visitors possibly on a good day. But they're shiny in that one. It looks very misty.
It's very dull, doesn't it? But Shincock Bay, not Shiny Cock Bay. Thank you for pointing that out to me, Gene. Silly me. Sarah at Gary, we're refusing, unable to buy more heating oil, and instead we got the electric oil heaters out, and I'm burning anything I find in Richard's garage on the wood burner. No, not that bit of wood. I've been saving that for 20 years. Brexit is very bad for people's health, and not only is the true impact of Brexit seeping into the little heads of people that didn't know what they were really. Oh, steady on. Ah!
Yeah, absolutely, steady on. That's it. Oh dear.
If you go via Gibraltar, your passport doesn't get stamped. Nice hack from AKA Big Boy Crypto Pants there. They do actually scan your passport, but it's done very quickly. Every passport has an MRZ, a machine read zone on it, and we will soon probably too. They actually do scan your passport there. Okay, question. I noticed that on all the VRBO and Airbnb websites listings for Portugal, smoke alarms and carbon monoxide alarms are listed, but then crossed out. What's up with this? I've never seen many smoke alarms in Portugal. Have you, Doc or Doug?
I've seen a couple, but Airbnb listings. I used to run some Airbnbs, and they're the recommended things which aren't available. So Airbnb has a core recommended facilities or equipment, and if they're not available, then they appear crossed out.
Okay. Yeah, but I've never seen many. And I suppose the thing with carbon monoxide alarms, you never know if they're in date or not, do you? And there's a high turnover in these places. If you're very worried, you could take your own, couldn't you? Which might not be a bad precaution there.
Most Airbnbs I've stayed in don't have any types of heating that would generate carbon monoxide. They're usually radiators or air conditioning. So you need to keep cool rather than warm in Portugal as a rule, don't you?
And what about methane detection? Because sometimes you need that when you've been on the old feijoada or feijoada, but not a serious problem, of course. Spot at home. If you go to our expatsportugal.com/premium-member-benefits, 15% off Spot at home booking fees, a nice alternative to Airbnb. And also while you're there, you can get discounts off yoga. Martignal, we do a 10% off Martignal as well. Zest car rental, all sorts of things as a premium member. Lots of wonderful discounts for you, perks and benefits. And then the link to that is in the comments there for you. But Spot at Home you might find useful. Need a minute or two. We're running out of time, gents. Need a minute or two to catch up on what everyone has written before I joined in. Yeah, tell me about it. This is fantastic, though. Even as residents of Portugal, you have UK passport. You can spend only 90 days in the Schengen area. Yeah, that's what we're talking about, Deborah. Good morning to you.
Is that correct?
Yeah, immigration.
So residents have only 90 days as well. Is that actually right?
Only 90 days obviously outside Portugal. If you want to get the full freedom of movement, you have to become a citizen.
Oh, right.
No, I didn't know that. Even really? No, I've got to question that with
no, it's 100%. 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
So you better get packing, Carl.
However, all these borders are open. How many? Unless you're going through airports, who's going to find out?
Yeah,
I don't want to go anywhere else anyway. I'm very happy in Portugal. Thank you very much. Immigration at all Portuguese airports have flat electronic passport readers, which they can use to scan your details before stamping your passport. They can see if people have exceeded 90 days. And when I've talked to Gilda about this, I mean, what actually are they going to do about it? I think it's going to be a long time until there's any trouble or fines with that. I suspect the Portuguese government are quite happy for you to be here spending money in Portugal, even if you have overstayed your welcome a little bit. But don't quote me on that, because I ain't going to stand up at immigration. That microprocessor that Bill Gates put in the COVID vaccine will tell them where you've been. We suspect, didn't we? If it's anything like the USA, if you're caught overstaying your days, then they can ban you from entering the USA for 10 years. I know people it has happened to. Yeah, because I guess they're not going to make you stay even longer, are they? Because that will go against the whole problem of you overstaying your welcome. But they will say goodbye with a grumpy look on their face, a little bit like Doug's when he didn't have any coffee left. Any reference to advertising standards, it's down to Carl. I have no link. Okay. Not bitter at all. If you're Portugal residents with a UK passport, remember to show your CEF QR code or residency card at immigration with your passport. Thanks, Louise. They will not stamp your passport if you do this. Okay, interesting. Question from Deborah. I still don't understand why I give my NIF when I buy things or when I butt things. I know it has something to do with the tax you pay, but needs a better explanation. At 2 minutes past 10, should we take that as our last question, Doc, and ask everyone to get their questions in earlier in future? Doc, why do you give your NIF number when you buy something?
Okay, two main reasons. Well, probably three in some cases. The first is you get entered into a state lottery for prizes, and you can check the results of that on the finance portal. Secondly, your taxes that are registered, you have a certain allowance, which this is automatically then deducted from any taxes that you might pay in Portugal for that year. And thirdly, various schemes. So the iVoucher scheme, so that was the tax back on both hospitality and now petrol. That works off your NIF, and so do many service suppliers. If you've already registered your NIF with them, when you phone up, they just want your NIF, and then they can find your record straight off. So.
Top man, thank you so much for explaining that, Doc. I hope that helps Deborah. And yeah, have you learnt it off by heart? It's a nice little bit of Portuguese lingo to learn, isn't it? Learning your NIF number off by heart.
I've got a PDF on my home screen which I can display. Leona's got hers scrawled on the back of her phone case, which it needs refreshing every now and then.
Wow, I know mine off by heart. And a final question that we'll leave hanging here. Which city north of Lisbon would you recommend? Ericeira comes immediately to mind. Lisbon is crazy expensive.
Leiria,
of course.
Or Coimbra.
A little bit too far north, possibly. And this one we'll have to leave hanging as well. So here's a question about Portugal. In the morning, there are people out in small boats, big dinghies, really, on the Sado. What are they doing? Do they have crab lines like in America? We'll just say, leave that to your imagination, along with the other questions that have come up. Get them in earlier, please. This has been a momentous occasion where where Doc's shiny baton has been firmly grasped by Doug. Do you have a message? Do you have a message for Doug on that basis in his new residency on the second Wednesday?
He's only half grasped it, because I understand we're going to alternate between second and fourth Wednesdays, or we haven't said which one's which, not to me anyway. However, you're welcome, Doug. We've missed you. Hopefully we can appear together sometimes like this, although I know that wasn't Carl's plan. But we do enjoy it.
It'll be great fun. It certainly adds to the proceedings, doesn't it? Having you on as well.
What do my plans matter in the scheme of these things here?
Just let's ignore him, Doc, and we'll both come on, shall we?
Yeah, just a serving suggestion. Don't mind me. But second Wednesday, I was thinking Doug, and fourth Wednesday's Doc, and sometimes it's British Pub Wednesday when it's the Doug and Doc where they invite each other to each other's shows in the spirit of healthy political debate and discourse.
Shall we say it's an open invitation, Andy?
Yes, I was going to say exactly the same thing, Doug. Open invitation. There you go, Carl.
You just saw it there, everybody. The great British sense of fair play, still alive and well in certain parts of Europe. Thank you so much, both of you. Thank you, everybody, for your lovely questions and input. We'll see you tomorrow on Thursday when we'll have the head gardener, Lee McGrady, talking about starting a business in Portugal. Very useful information and how we can all network together as business owners as well. Congratulations to us, 10,000 members on the Expats Portugal community. Join us over there if you haven't already, expatsportugal.com/community. And we'll see you tomorrow. Ciao for now.
Ciao, ciao.